Hello， 大家好，欢迎回到外媒看中国，我是安博然。With the war between Israel and Iran heating up, and President Trump defying his base to push for direct American involvement, Chinese President Xi Jinping, always the adult in the room, is calling for calm and de-escalation in the region. But that doesn't stop Western media complicit in the deaths of over 1 million Iraqis after the weapons of mass destruction hoax that allowed the US to invade Iraq 25 years ago from pushing more blatant lies that aim to ensure we enter World War III. Case in point, Chinese-American journalist Sophia Yan, who seems hell-bent on the Israel-Iran war escalating, and she wants to pull China into the fight as the cherry on top. That's why she wrote a report for The Telegraph called China Sends Mystery Transport Planes into Iran, which is not only extremely dangerous, but also 100% fake news. And she has been busted. Today I'll dive into the details and look at Sophia Yan's anti-China history as a war propagandist for CNN, Bloomberg and Time magazine. Let's go beyond the propaganda. This is Reports on China. I'm Andy Borham here in Shanghai. Let's get reporting. Tensions are rapidly rising in the Middle East as Israel and Iran enter the second week of fighting since Israel bombed Iran on June 12. US President Donald Trump is contemplating the United States entering the battle, all based on this idea that Iran is building a nuclear weapon. That's despite Iran allowing nuclear inspectors in, being a signatory of non-proliferation treaties, and testimony from Trump's own Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, affirming that Iran is not working on nuclear weapons. But guess which Middle Eastern country refuses to let nuclear inspectors in, refuses to sign non-proliferation treaties, and has a secret stash of potentially hundreds of nuclear bombs? You got it, Israel. But let's not let the reality get in the way of some good propaganda, eh? Chinese President Xi Jinping had a recent call with Russian President Vladimir Putin, where he laid out his 4 hopes for the current conflict in the Middle East, including promoting a ceasefire and ending hostilities as an urgent priority, ensuring the safety of civilians, pursuing dialogue and negotiation, and encouraging global community support for peace. But despite China's calls for peace, anti-China propagandists like Sophia Yan from The Telegraph are working overtime to try and escalate tensions and pull China into the war. You see, despite being ethnically Chinese, Sophia is fundamentally anti-China, and her career has seen her work for some of the West's most notorious anti-China propagandist outlets, including CNN, CNBC, Bloomberg, and Time magazine. She's also a massive proponent of 2 of the West's most hideous conspiracy theories against China, producing documentaries about the Xinjiang genocide hoax and the Hong Kong riots. Basically, she's so knee-deep in anti-China propaganda that it's a surprise anyone still takes her seriously, especially since many of the anti-China hoaxes she's pushed have been thoroughly debunked. And today, social media commentator Arnaud Bertrand debunked her latest piece of propaganda, an article for The Telegraph titled China Sends Mystery Transport Planes into Iran, where she blatantly and confidently claims that China is secretly sending weapons to Iran on cargo planes that are purposefully turning off their transponders when they land in Iran with their secret cargo. And Arnaud didn't hold back, saying, "Shame on you, Sophia Yan," before laying out the evidence he uncovered with just a couple of minutes of fact-checking. He wrote, "The story basically goes like this. Some cargo planes on Flight Radar 24 stopped tracking over Turkmenistan, which is near Iran. And while we have no idea what they were carrying, why the tracking stopped, or where they actually landed, the conclusion may be that China is secretly arming Iran." Oh, and we'll call our article China Sends Mystery Transport Planes into Iran. We don't know if it's actually China that sent it, and we don't even know if the planes even actually went to Iran. And why be bothered with such technicalities? And let's add the word mystery in there, because when you don't actually have any facts, you can always rebrand your cluelessness as China being secretive. And Arnaud is completely correct, because ultimately The Telegraph, if it had any journalistic standards, would not allow such an article to even be published. The title alone is a massive breach of journalistic ethics, making a certain claim that is not only not true, but it's extremely dangerous. Let's look at the headline again. China sends mystery transport planes into Iran. Now, that is not Sophia asking the question or speculating. It is presented as pure fact, and a clear example of Western media's dangerous willingness to throw out all professionalism in order to make some more China-bad content. He goes on. First of all, I actually checked the flight number that they flagged in the article, CLX 9877. It's true that on Flight Radar 24, you can see that it stopped tracking over Turkmenistan at around 1:45 a.m. UTC on the 16th of June. However, on Flight Aware, another tracking website, you can see the same flight taking off from Turkmenistan a couple of hours later, flying to Luxembourg and landing there at 11:21 CEST. Arnaud uncovered the data from the exact same flight over the past 6 months and found that the flight always stops there in Turkmenistan before taking off again a couple of hours later to continue its flight to Luxembourg. He continues, so effectively, it looks like this plane is simply making the exact same scheduled stop it makes every single week, something I was able to assert after just 2 minutes of basic fact-checking. And even setting aside the fact that the plane never went to Iran, the entire premise of the article is journalistically bankrupt, just a wild conspiracy theory. They admit in the article they have no idea what was on board, no evidence of weapons, no confirmation of Chinese government involvement, literally nothing. It's all just pure speculation based on nothing more than coincidental timing and the irresistible urge Western media have to craft a scary story about China doing nefarious stuff, even when the reality is probably as boring as a scheduled fuel stop. And that is basically how the Western media works. For some reason, they're allowed to produce these hideously false reports about China, all to fulfill their quotas for more China-bad content. Basically, Sophia Yan has proven she's nothing but a conspiracy theorist. But instead of being some random nobody spewing their anti-China hate from their grandma's basement, Sophia is given a platform. She's even been given industry awards for her shady work, like the Marie Colvin Award in 2020 for her propaganda surrounding Xinjiang, China. And don't forget, the US government is paying hundreds of millions of dollars every year for anti-China propaganda. So basically, there's not even any incentive for people like Sophia to stop doing what they do, because they're continuously rewarded for their shady work. And without being called out on a wide scale, she will keep doing what she does. And on that note, that will be it for today, you guys. But as always, I'd love to hear your thoughts. How can we stop propagandists like Sophia Yan from producing such blatantly false anti-China conspiracy theories? And how is it that so many people take the word of Western media as gospel? Do let me know your thoughts down below, and don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you haven't already. It really does help the channel. I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.